1971 wasn't just another year. It was the year popular music grew up, got serious, and gave us songs that still make us stop in our tracks 50 years later. Today, we're traveling back to that remarkable year to explore 10 songs that didn't just top the charts. They touched something deeper in all of us. These aren't just great songs from 1971. They're among the most beautiful pieces of music ever created. Number 10. Bridge Over Troubled Water by Simon and Garfunkel.
When you're weary.
Though technically released in early 1970, Bridge Over Troubled Water dominated 1971 like few songs ever have. Paul Simon crafted this gospel-influenced ballad during a time when America desperately needed comfort, and Art Garfunkel's ethereal vocals turned it into something almost sacred. The song began as Simon's attempt to write something in the style of a Swan Silvertone's gospel number, but it evolved into something far more universal. When Garfunkel's voice soars over that simple piano melody, there's a quality that transcends genre or era. It's the sound of one human being promising to be there for another, no matter what storms may come. What makes this song enduringly beautiful isn't just its technical perfection, though Larry Knechtel's piano work is flawless. It's the genuine emotion. In 1971, as the country grappled with division and uncertainty, this song offered something precious: hope without naivety, comfort without condescension. Number 9. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye had been Motown's smooth romantic crooner for years. But in 1971, he looked around at a world on fire and couldn't stay silent anymore. What's Going On emerged from his conversations with his brother Frankie, who had returned from Vietnam with stories that haunted them both.
Brother, brother, brother.
The beauty of this song lies in how Gaye approached such heavy subject matter. Instead of anger or accusation, he chose gentle questioning. His multi-tracked vocals create a conversation with himself, as if he's working through these massive issues in real time. The Funk Brothers rhythm section provides a groove that's both urgent and laid back, while the strings sweep in like a warm embrace.
You know we've got to find our way.
Berry Gordy initially rejected the song, calling it the worst thing I ever heard. History proved him spectacularly wrong. What's Going On became not just a hit, but a template for how popular music could tackle serious subjects without losing its soul. In 1971, when protest songs often felt like lectures, Gaye offered something different: an invitation to think, wrapped in one of the most beautiful arrangements ever recorded.
Everybody thinks we're wrong, but they do.
Number 8. Superstar by The Carpenters. The Carpenters took a song written by Leon Russell and Bonnie Bramlett and transformed it into something achingly beautiful in 1971. Karen Carpenter's voice, with its warm, crystal-clear tone, turned this tale of longing into one of the most emotionally devastating ballads of the era.
Before the second show.
Richard Carpenter's arrangement was perfection: lush strings, gentle piano, and that unmistakable vocal harmony that made the Carpenters sound like no one else. But it was Karen's delivery that made the song unforgettable. She sang about unrequited love and distant dreams, with such vulnerability that you could feel the heartbreak in every note.
But you're not really.
The beauty of Superstar lies in its honest portrayal of loneliness. In 1971, when rock music was getting louder and more complex, the Carpenters reminded everyone that sometimes the most powerful songs are the quiet ones. Karen's voice floating over that gentle arrangement created a moment of pure emotion that radio couldn't resist, and listeners never forgot.
Loneliness.
Number 7. American Pie by Don McLean.
I couldn't take one more step.
Don McLean spent most of 1971 trying to convince radio stations to play an 8.5-minute song about the day the music died. By year's end, American Pie had become one of the biggest hits of the decade and created its own mythology that endures today.
How do you believe in rock and roll?
McLean has always been coy about the song's exact meanings, but its emotional truth is undeniable. Starting with Buddy Holly's 1959 plane crash, it becomes a meditation on lost innocence, both personal and cultural. The folk rock arrangement builds slowly, gathering momentum like a story that has to be told, no matter how long it takes.
Today, the music died.
What makes American Pie beautiful isn't just its ambitious scope or McLennan's earnest delivery. It's the way it captures that moment when you realize the world of your childhood is gone forever. In 1971, as the idealism of the 60s curdled into the cynicism of the 70s, this song served as both eulogy and warning.
We started singing, bye, bye, Mr. American.
Number 6. Imagine, John Lennon.
Imagine there's no country.
John Lennon had been exploring political themes with the Beatles and in his early solo work, but Imagine found him at his most direct and vulnerable. Recorded at his Tittenhurst Park home studio, the song strips away all rock and roll artifice to focus on a simple message of peace.
Imagine all the people.
The beauty of Imagine lies in its gentle approach to radical ideas. Lennon asks us to imagine a world without religion, countries, or possessions, concepts that could easily sound preachy or naive. But his delivery is so tender, so genuinely hopeful, that the song feels like a prayer rather than a manifesto.
Living life in peace.
Phil Spector's production keeps everything minimal, just Lennon's voice and piano, with subtle strings added later. In 1971, as the Vietnam War continued and social tensions remained high, this simplicity felt revolutionary. Sometimes the most beautiful songs are the ones that dare to dream of a better world.
You may say I'm a dreamer.
Number 5. Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond.
And spring became the summer.
Sweet Caroline had been climbing the charts since its 1969 release, but it was in 1971 that it truly became a cultural phenomenon. Neil Diamond's inspiration, whether it was Caroline Kennedy or his wife at the time, mattered less than the way the song made people feel.
Touching you.
The magic happens in that chorus, where Diamond's passionate vocals meet those unforgettable backing harmonies. Sweet Caroline, ba ba ba, shouldn't work. It's nonsensical on paper, but in practice, it creates one of the most joyful moments in popular music. The horn arrangement adds just the right amount of Vegas glitz without overwhelming the emotional core. What makes this song enduringly beautiful is its unabashed celebration of love and good times. In an era when serious music was supposed to address serious subjects, Diamond reminded everyone that sometimes the most important thing art can do is make people happy. The song's continued popularity at sporting events and sing-alongs proves he was right.
Sweet Caroline.
Number 4. Me and Bobby McGee by Janis Joplin.
I pulled my harpoon out of my...
Janis Joplin died in October 1970, but her posthumous recording of Chris Christopherson's Me and Bobby McGee became her signature song throughout 1971. Joplin transformed Christopherson's country ballad into something entirely her own, raw, passionate, and heartbreaking.
We sang every song that Javi knew.
The beauty of Joplin's version lies in her complete emotional commitment. Where Christopherson's original was wistful, Joplin's is desperate. Her voice cracks and soars, finding new meanings in familiar phrases. When she sings about freedom being just another word for nothing left to lose, you believe she's lived every word.
Looking for that home, and I hope he finds it.
The sparse arrangement, acoustic guitar, bass, and Joplin's voice keeps the focus where it belongs. Knowing that these were among her final recordings adds poignancy. But even without that context, the performance stands as one of the most emotionally powerful in rock history. In 1971, As the counterculture movement began to fade, Joplin's voice served as a reminder of what passion could sound like.
Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose.
Number 3. Let's Stay Together by Al Green.
Whatever you want to do.
Al Green had been working toward something special for years, and in 1971, he found it with Let's Stay Together. Producer Willie Mitchell and the high rhythm section created the perfect backdrop for Green's transcendent vocals. A groove so deep and warm, it felt like a musical embrace.
The one you come running to.
The song's beauty comes from its perfect balance of sacred and secular. Green's vocal delivery borrows heavily from gospel tradition, but he's singing about romantic love with the fervor of a preacher. The result is something that sounds both deeply spiritual and irresistibly sensual.
Let's stay together.
Mitchell's production is a masterclass in restraint. Every element, the subtle strings, the tight rhythm section, the call and response horns, serves Green's voice. In 1971, as soul music was getting more elaborate and rock was getting louder, Let's Stay Together proved that sometimes the most powerful music comes from the deepest grooves.
Somebody.
Number 2. Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin.
And she's buying a stairway.
Led Zeppelin spent most of 1971 working on their untitled fourth album, and when Stairway to Heaven emerged, it redefined what rock music could be. Jimmy Page's multi-layered composition moves from gentle acoustic fingerpicking to thunderous electric guitars, with Robert Plant's mystical lyrics floating above it all.
And the forests will echo with life.
The song's beauty lies in its journey. Starting as an intimate folk ballad, it gradually builds through different sections and moods before exploding into one of the most famous guitar solos in rock history. John Bonham's drums don't even enter until halfway through, but when they do, they transform the entire piece.
It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen.
Page has said the song came together like puzzle pieces falling into place, and that organic quality is part of what makes it so compelling. In 1971, progressive rock was often criticized for being overly intellectual, but Stairway to Heaven proved that complexity and emotion weren't mutually exclusive. The song became FM radio's unofficial anthem and introduced countless listeners to the possibilities of album-oriented rock.
Your head is humming out of Woco.
Number 1. Suzanne by Leonard Cohen.
Did you have more love to give her?
Leonard Cohen's Suzanne had appeared on his 1967 debut album, but it was in 1971 that the song truly found its audience. As singer-songwriters gained prominence and listeners grew hungry for more personal, poetic music, Cohen's delicate masterpiece resonated with a generation seeking depth and meaning.
Yes, and Jesus was saving.
The beauty of Suzanne lies in its perfect marriage of melody and poetry. Cohen's gentle guitar picking and whispered vocals create an intimate atmosphere, while his lyrics paint vivid pictures of Montreal's waterfront and the mysterious woman who inspired the song. Every word feels carefully chosen, every image precisely placed.
And when he knew for certain only.
What makes this song the most beautiful of 1971 is its complete lack of artifice. Cohen wasn't trying to write a hit or make a statement. He was simply sharing a moment of human connection with anyone willing to listen. In an era of grand gestures and loud proclamations, Suzanne offered something rarer: quiet truth.
Himself was broken long before.
The song's influence on the singer-songwriter movement cannot be overstated. It proved that popular music could be literary without being pretentious, personal without being narcissistic. In 1971, as the world grew more complex and confusing, Suzanne reminded us that sometimes the most profound truths are found in the smallest moments.
And you want to travel with it.
1971 gave us these 10 beautiful songs, and so many others. Brown Sugar by the Rolling Stones, Won't Get Fooled Again by The Who, Family Affair by Sly and the Family Stone. It was a year when artists weren't afraid to be vulnerable, when complexity and simplicity could coexist, when music served as both mirror and balm for a troubled world. Looking back now, it's clear that 1971 represented a turning point. The optimism of the 60s was fading, but hadn't yet given way to 70s cynicism. In that brief moment between hope and disillusionment, artists created music of remarkable beauty and lasting power. These songs endure because they speak to something timeless in human experience: love, loss, hope, longing, the search for meaning in an uncertain world. They remind us that beauty can emerge from any circumstance, that art can provide comfort and transcendence even in the darkest times. If you enjoyed this journey back to 1971, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more explorations of music history. And let us know in the comments, which of these beautiful songs means the most to you? What other years in music history would you like us to explore? The music of 1971 continues to soundtrack our lives 50 years later. That's the true measure of beauty. Not just how a song sounds in its moment, but how it echoes through time, finding new listeners and new meanings with each passing year.